Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. It's Monday, March 2nd. We will wait to do the Pledge of Allegiance with the Finance Commission, which is where we will go to after this meeting. I will begin by granting Westwood Media Center permission to record the meeting. Anyone else wishing to record? Okay. I'm not going to give any chairman's update tonight. We'll jump right into scheduled action. We'll just have a half hour for this meeting, again, before we adjourn into Finance Commission. The first item on the agenda is the Islington Center Land Disposition Agreement, and we have a request before us to amend or approve and execute the second amendment of the Land Disposition Agreement. We have Gareth Orsman here representing us as special counsel. And Gareth, I'm just going to turn it over to you to summarize what it is we're being asked to do tonight.
Sure. So for the record, I did prepare the original land disposition agreement back in 2018 governing this redevelopment of Islington Center, so hopefully that's been going okay. I've not had a lot to do with it since, but Dan Bailey did bring me up to speed. So I can say on good faith that what you have before you is a proposed second amendment, revised proposed second amendment to the Land Disposition Agreement of 2018. The second amendment originally came before the Select Board in December 2019, not so long ago. And the board approved it. That version did not get executed by all the parties, and since then we saw some shortcomings in the draft and have fixed those. So what you have before you now is a slightly revised version of what you have seen already, so it should be somewhat familiar. There are two aspects to this amendment. The first, and both of them are related to the relocation of Wentworth Hall onto the new parcel next to the CVS, which the town will own as of the second closing, which we hope will happen soon. The first aspect is it governs the relocation of Wentworth Hall itself from its current site, and it was always written into the land disposition agreement that Wentworth Hall would be relocated and expanded, that the town would be initially responsible and would have a set amount of time within which to relocate Wentworth Hall, and that if the town did not do that, then the redeveloper would take it upon itself to relocate Wentworth Hall and get paid for that work. So what the second amendment before you now does is give an additional 60-day period from the date on which you execute it, within which to do the relocation of Wentworth Hall yourself. And if you do not do that, it still provides that the redeveloper can do this work. But it clarifies exactly what it is the redeveloper does and the standards that its work must be done towards, and it also clarifies that payment from the town for this work is not going to be an out-of-pocket expense, but it will be a credit against certain funds that the redeveloper owes at the closing, the third closing in that instance. That is but for the clarification on the standard and the credit. That is pretty much what was before you in December. The second aspect of the second amendment before you addresses certain excavation and other preparatory work for the relocation of Wentworth Hall that is underway on the new lot that the town will own. Now, the original development agreement, land disposition agreement, always contemplated that the redeveloper would be responsible for a sizable contribution to this work, and that was to the tune of $2.2 million, or the assessed value of parcels that the developer will own when all is said and done, whichever is greater. The original, also when this was before you in December, it was already known to everyone that the redeveloper was doing this excavation and preparatory work under a contract from September 2019, and so that was completely understood that the redeveloper would do this work and he would get paid for it. What we did not deal with in the prior version of the second amendment was exactly how the redeveloper would be paid. So the second amendment before you provides that the redeveloper under this contract, instead of getting paid out of pocket, again, will get a credit against the contribution it owes to the redevelopment of Wentworth Hall. And that really is it in a nutshell. The only other change is we felt it was better to have the board as a whole sign the Second Amendment as had been done in the past, whereas the prior version just had Mr. Coleman signing it. So we would ask that the board sign it and have it notarized. I have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Questions from the board?
So I guess that my only question is, how is that number decided upon? In other words, presents a bill $500,000, right? What is our,
Oh, the amount
Yeah.
that will be credited under the second aspect
Correct.
for the excavation. So it's a bit of a moving target. There is a not to exceed value that's written into the contract. I believe that was around 240,000 or so, but I can double check. But there is.
233,640.
233,640, okay. So that's close.
that's the amount we submitted, that's my question.
Yeah.
That's the credit of no more than.
Yeah, and if you look at the second, there's a little bit of discussion going on between the redeveloper and the town's contractor that's actually doing the foundation work as to who is gonna do what. And that will ultimately change the number. So if you look at the Second Amendment, it gives us a little leeway both to figure out what that cost's gonna be and also when it's gonna be credited. There's a second closing coming up soon. The Wentworth parcel, the Wentworth redevelopment contribution for that is $400,000. There's a third closing that we come to after that, and then the redeveloper owns the balance of what is due for the Westworth parcel monetary contribution. So it could be either one of those. We still need
I
to
just
figure
ask
that out.
because, whatever number you put down, they're gonna get as close to that number as they can.
Yeah.
Just human nature. If you say 240, I'm guessing it's coming in at like 230 and change.
Well, we'll see. I mean, they have to have that discussion. As you can imagine, there's a point at which the excavation work is done and the foundation work comes in, and two different entities are doing that, so we have to figure out where that is. But it is a not to exceed amount.
Okay.
So, let me just get my language here. So I move that we approve the Second Amendment of the Land Disposition Agreement in the attached form and authorize the Select Board to execute such closing documents as may be necessary at the direction of Special Town Council. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Okay. We will execute.
Do you have your own version, or would you like one?
We don't have anything in front of us, so what do you have
There we
to?
go.
So I'm not sure how they would do this, but I would ask that we do it in duplicate, just so that we have two copies.
And are you asking us a question while we do this?
Madam Clerk, will you do it?
Yes, do you all swear that the document that you are signing is accurate and true?
I do.
I do.
Yes.
Got a third, sir? Got a third, yeah? Just two, or you got a third?
Oh, I didn't know you had your own, so probably that.
Okay. One first and
You
one
don't think we
second.
need to?
Yeah.
We
don't. I didn't know we had one up
You
here.
don't
so I-
record this, right?
Right. I don't think so. I'm not quite sure why it's motorized. It's the way it's been done, so we'll do it.
Thank you for covering on this, Karen.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
No, appreciate it.
I'll do that in a-
Yes.
Jim,
Can I also have, just, I'm gonna fill this in, just sign the signature.
Jim, just a second. Exactly what you said, second copy.
What about, Jim? What about this, Verdi?
Yeah, we need to go get his signature
Okay.
afterwards. Well, what I'll do is hold it on escrow until we get a signature page from
Okay.
him,
this isn't-
and then we'll release it.
What is this? Is this something extra? Or?
So we should have 2 original copies. So I don't know if you have notaries there, if not.
So there's 2. I just did 2.
Okay. And
Okay, so that's good.
can I see what the 2
Yeah,
are?
so take a look at that and make sure that that's in there.
Okay, so I've got all the signatures here.
That's big.
There's another page. Should be 3.
For each one of us.
Yeah, should be 3 signing down there. So here we go. We'll do it one more time. I'm not sure why, but the version that was sent to you on the page.
And you actually sign this. Doesn't have to pass.
See what you see?
Okay, can you come back on that last page? No, the last one.
Each of these
Yeah.
twice.
Can we continue review that?
Yeah, do you want us to second
Yeah, because this is, as
Yeah, we'll
as you've all signed 2,
We'll step
the
up
rest is
and
between me
finish
and
it.
Dottie.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you still need us afterwards, we'll
I think
pick up
we'll be
from there,
fine.
okay?
Thank you.
Let's take these.
Pam?
Our next meeting item is an update on the budget and miscellaneous items for the supplemental budget articles. So I know you want to give us an update on a few things. I'll turn it over to you to let you highlight what you want to
Just
cover
go
with
very
us
quickly,
tonight. Thank you.
and there's a brief little handout on your desk. But we're nearing the end of the budget cycle. At your next meeting on March 16th, we'll ask you to vote final approval on all of the financial warrant articles,
Yeah.
and then we can send it along to the FinCom. So I'm just tonight, previewing a couple of the changes to the budget that we've been working on for the last couple of months. But first, the budget supplements, Articles 1 and 2 for the FY20 budget. And it's a really small list. At this point on Article 1, on page 2 there, we just have 2 items. One, we're just holding a spot right now for snow and ice, and we don't want to jinx the DPW, but at this point, we would not need to supplement that budget.
At this point, right.
At this
We're
point.
not jinxing.
So we'll see where that update is on the 16th. But we could be okay with the current budget that we have in place, the $450,000. The other item is just a small amount for Youth and Family Services Department that had a staffing transition during the year. There was a maternity leave, and we would like to cover that in that department. We did just get the update on when the staff has come back and the fill-in leaving, so that number may be significantly lower by the time we come in on the 16th. And I would just mention that if we don't need the snow and ice, and that number is significantly lower, if we're down to a range of a few $1,000s, we may have the select board do that as a reserve fund transfer from your reserve account, and we may not have an Article 1. It's the only item that's there. On the next page, Article 2 is just a couple of the standard items we have each year, a small amount for
I know, I was wondering.
ambulance items and the assessing reval services. The last several years, we've had similar items. We're using particular funding to cover those ambulance receipts and the overlay surplus, which is related to the assessing department. And then the one item that we've been talking about during the budget process of $350,000 for the school special ed account. But other than that, a very minor list this year. And then on the next page, just a couple of quick items to the overall FY21 budget updates. As I think I mentioned before, we did get the update on the Blue Hills Regional School Assessment. The final budget for FY21, our assessment is just over $132,000. That's actually a decrease of about 11% from the current year. And it's about 27,000 less than I was carrying in the budget. So we'll take that number down. And then in the sewer department, on a similar, the MWRA assessment, we did get an updated assessment in February, $3.2 million. That's about a 2.8% increase over the current year. It's about 35,000 less than what we've been carrying in the budget. So we would reduce that expense item and the corresponding sewer revenue.
And that all flows through the sewer department
All
budget,
flows to the
correct?
sewer. So there's no real budget impact on that.
Right.
On the Blue Hills, that would bring down what we would be raising the taxes by about 27,000. And then finally, the health insurance budget. That's an item we always have to look at and update during the budget process. We did receive our final rates last week at the end of the week. The average rate increase for our plans is about 5%. They do range from 3 to 7, but overall they're about 5%. That is in line with what our original budget has been, so there'd be no adjustment necessary for that budget. So other than that, that's it. Next Tuesday night, the FinCom does their subcommittee reports back. They've been meeting with all of our departments and going through the budgets. Everything appears to be in good shape, so they'll do that next Tuesday. We'll have you at your meeting on the 16th, approve those Articles 1 and 2, the updated operating budget, and then the capital budget articles, and if you make any revisions to those, we would do it on that night. We then send the things out the next day to the Finance and Warrant Commission so they can take a look at it, and they'll have that before their final hearing on March 23rd. And that's when they'll vote their approval of the budget.
Good.
Thank you.
So you don't need us to take any specific action tonight.
No action.
So we appreciate that, and I think, so much hard work has gone into this. It's really looking very good. And the operating budget, and we'll have our final discussions, as you said, on capital items, which are moving along. So great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll go to review of articles, warrant articles. So there is an update for all of us. Let's see, where shall we start? Let's go to the articles for our review. We have Select Board Article 1, as it's been referred to, which is the regulations regarding alarm systems. And I see we have Chief Deckers here tonight. In a nutshell, we have a request to withdraw this article and continue the discussion. What I understand is take the opportunity to reach out to all impacted parties, have a further discussion, and come back either next fall if there's a fall town meeting or in the spring for next year's annual town meeting.
Right, I think that's the option that we decided to go based on some information that we got back. I think it would be better for us to talk
Right.
to all the impacted parties first, just to give them a heads up that, hey, this is coming down the line. I think that's the right thing to do.
I think that's great, because it is impactful on small church budgets. Certainly it will be impactful on the town,
Absolutely.
since we have several buildings, so maybe quantifying that. And I think what we've received is we'll roll out the completion date another year.
Yeah, I think that's the
From
best,
23 to
yeah, I think
24
that's the best option,
go
gives
forward next
everybody
year.
planning time. Yep.
Okay, any questions from the board on that? So,
Moving articles is never a question.
no, just the substance of it. Why don't we have a motion to withdraw that article?
I move that we withdraw Select Board Article number 1 regarding Chapter 175 and alarm systems and Section 175.5 of the regulations.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Thanks, Chief, and that sounds like a good plan. Okay, Planning Board had an article relative to rezoning, or taking, it's a rezoning article, taking Morrison Park and Field out of the overlay district zoning, and they voted last week to remove that article in light of the article the Select Board has brought forward to put a portion of the whole park and field complex under Article 97. So we have a request from the Planning Board to withdraw that article. Any discussion? Any questions? No? Okay, I'll take a motion
I
to
move
withdraw.
that we withdraw the Planning Board Article number 2 regarding zoning map amendment relative to Morrison Park and Field.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. We have Brendan Ryan with us tonight. The DPW has been doing some work to determine if there is a road on the other side of the East Street Rotary that might come before town meeting. for acceptance. It's a private way now, and there's some interest by at least one property owner on that street to have it be accepted as a public road by the town. Can you just give us a status report on that? I know we can't talk to Finance Commission about it tonight.
Yep.
Because we haven't put it on their agenda and we really haven't put it forth officially yet.
Yep, so we've done our due diligence in securing an estimate, what it will cost the town if this goes forward. There's one resident that's kind of spearheading this effort. I've been trying to get a hold of myself personally, the other two residents, the other abutters. But as of today, I was unsuccessful in doing so. So I'll stay, ahead of that and try to get most of them on board for the next meeting. But it looks like they're all on board for this process to move forward, according
It looks like,
to,
according to this other property
according
owner.
to the.
So
the
we
lead.
have a very limited window here
Mhm.
to do this. We have the meeting on the 16th.
Okay.
I'm not even sure when notice gets sent out for the next public hearing. So do we need to, that's pretty, I mean, the 16th. I know we got the other,
I'd have that discussion with,
no, it's already gone out
Yes.
for both. So how does that get handled?
I would have that discussion with the FinCom tonight and see what they want to do, how they want to handle it.
Okay.
I can recall, Madam Chairman, doing street acceptances the night of town meeting.
The difference is, we already had it as an article.
I understand.
And this year we didn't. Can we,
We want to do it, want to talk about placeholders for now?
well, that's what we
I'm
would
sorry,
do.
I didn't hear you.
Would
Do
we
it as
want
a
to do
plate,
something
take one of our
tonight?
placeholders now?
You have to take one of your placeholders.
Okay.
Tonight, though,
Is that what
and
you
not
always-
wait till the 16th,
Right.
and then we can withdraw it if it doesn't come forward on the
You
16th.
can do that,
Yes, okay.
and you can give them a heads up if they have to get a supplemental mailing out.
Okay, so why don't
What's
we
it
do
called,
that?
street acquisition?
No,
Street
street
acceptance.
acceptance.
Street acceptance, all right. I move that we, select board, take one of our miscellaneous articles for a potential street acceptance article to come before town meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. I will mention it tonight and ask them what they can do for notice.
Yeah,
I mean, they certainly can put it on their posted agenda
right.
for more than 48 hours in advance of the meeting. That might be what they need to do. I think it justifies another meeting.
Probably.
I'll let them decide. We won't decide that for them, right?
Correct.
Okay, and we'll wait to address the remaining two miscellaneous articles until our March 16th meeting. We won't take any action on that at this point. And
I
other
do
than
think we should
that,
talk for a minute about capital though. Just,
it's,
it's noticed.
can we do that? I'm just
It's
checking.
noticed.
Okay. Hold on, let me just go through these to see if there was anything else we had to do. We just have to remember to do, why don't we do release of fourth quarter
Yeah, that's
capital?
fine.
And then we'll come back. Fourth quarter capital, okay, so hard to believe it, we're moving through this year. As normal, we just release a couple of months in advance of each quarter. And we got going on the first quarter pretty quickly after town meeting. So we have a remaining balance of $440,000 on what was a pre-approved amount of $4,796,000. And
We're asking you just to release
I see
$132,500,
this now, okay.
and there's just the items listed.
So some of the items will not be needed for?
Yes, so one of that is the financial software system that we're doing one part in the current year, and we're getting the second half of the funding in FY '21.
Okay, so we don't have to release the money
We don't
now?
need to release that.
Okay, so we have 4 items: end user technology, Waha building and maintenance and improvement, building maintenance and improvement. Radio infrastructure is the 3rd item, and school technology for a total of $132,500. Any questions? Mike?
So I move that we approve the fourth quarter capital in the amount of $132,500, as you said, for the aforementioned reasons, aforementioned departments, I should say.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, so other business that may come before the board, John?
Well, mine is just a
It's under the
sequencing. I think that we are gonna have to make some amendments to the capital
Mhm.
based on the largest user group changing their position. So, what I don't want is a FinCom report that was negative on something that we're probably gonna amend anyway.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to figure out how to transmit from us to them to not review that amount of money because we're probably gonna move it anyway.
Yes,
So I'm just trying to figure that out.
yeah. So
Um,
they don't, they're not talking about any of the financial warrant articles tonight,
Right,
and then their report back, the subcommittee reports are typically just the operating budget. So
okay,
we can let them know before next
That's
week.
probably a good
We'll
idea.
talk with the departments, the members that are reviewing kind of that department, and that those projects, they're gonna be a change, that will
Okay.
happen on the 16th.
perfect.
Yeah, so then that gets out to them before the 23rd, when they would talk about it at
Right,
public hearing.
okay.
Why don't you check in with all of us before
Yeah.
that communication too, because we haven't discussed.
Yes,
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
fine
that'd
talking
be a
about on the
change.
16th, I just didn't want something out there.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And can I just mention quickly on the,
Yes.
if you did it, the street acceptance, we would use free cash to fund that, and it's a relatively minor amount.
Right, and it would be 50% of the total amount.
Yes, we have to vote the
being
full
discussed.
amount at town meeting, and then we get the reimbursement.
Yeah, so there is a short time frame. If they can't respond to the short time frame, then we have to postpone it until next year, future town meeting. Okay, any other business? Anybody? Garrett?
Just need to ask you to sign on that copy. There's a mistake on the signature.
Thank you.
Was it Michael's fault? You can tell us.
Maybe. It's nobody's fault. You always blame the absentee, so we'll put it on Dan.
There we go.
Okay, as soon as John's done, I'll take a motion to adjourn into the Finance Commission meeting.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we will meet again on Monday, March 16th in the Gillette Meeting Room at the police station. Thank you.